Mike and Carol are here.
What? What? Oh, okay.
Good evening,
Where are
everyone.
you?
How are you? It's nice to see you all. Thank you for coming. I'm going to ask you all to remote, and we'll let a couple more people in here. And this is our monthly GAT 1H area meeting. And we're going to have some various people joining in to chat tonight. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking the time. And let's spend a couple of minutes looking at some numbers. And I wanted to start out by saying that I had the pleasure of going to Idaho a couple of weeks ago, and the district governor shared the goals of the district at the convention. And it's not often that I get to hear the goals of the districts spoken about. So it was a great pleasure for me to hear that the district governor was sharing with everyone what the goals were and where they stood. And she proudly pointed out that the team had developed had met or exceeded 5 of the 7 goals that had been set by the district governor team. And the incoming district governor team for next year is setting those goals now. And that was very exciting to me because it showed that we're monitoring those goals that were being set. And one of the things that was also interesting and was reminded to me was that it's important to set SMART goals. And as our district governor-elects are beginning to set their goals for next year, we should keep in mind that SMART is specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. Part of that is realistic, making sure that the goals that we're setting are achievable goals. And we also have up until December 31, things happen that change reality for us, and we want to hit the pause button and say, let's get our team back together and think about ways to, some plan didn't work and we need to put together a new plan or whatever. We have time to change those goals. And in that way, we can make sure that we have goals that by the end of the year are achievable, because we want to be winners and we want to make sure that our goals are within our grasp. So that was interesting for me to see all that. And we have our district governor-elect from Idaho here. And I wonder if she has any comments she might like to make about how it is that they're going about monitoring these goals and setting goals coming in for next year. I'm putting you on the spot. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, I wish DG Betty was here so she could speak to this better than I could, but I think it's just all about the people that are involved. And, you know, it was funny when I went to St. Charles, I said, is it going to be looking like I'm lazy because I'm not going to really change any of these because it's working? And so they're all saying, no, it's not being lazy. So I'm just going to tweak it a little bit. And each time we go up and we just raise it a little percentage, raise it a little more so that we all feel the success.
Thank you. And what she just said, in case you didn't pick up on it, is that this is an ongoing process, year after year, with each member of the team picking up last year's goals, figuring out what we learned and moving up from there. It's not each year starting over again from scratch. And it's also a team effort. And with the...
Okay, can you a little?
I think somebody needs to mute, please. I can't really see it from here. That last year's district governor is also this year's GMT, am I right? And GMA champion. So this GMA process has been working for a couple of years. So this is just one way that one district's doing it, but they're doing it and succeeding at it. Thank you, Lynn. We've got 3 months left. And as we're sitting looking at our district right at the moment, you can see that we're positive for a group and we're all either very close to being positive or positive. And we've got a goal set this year of 6 new clubs, and we've got 3 already on the books. The one that's got the red line around it is in Arizona. That's our University of Arizona Campus Club. We're 2 members away from completing that one. We've still got 3 months for the other 3 that are set as goals. We've got 3 districts that I'd like to have share what's going on in those districts and how is it that we're seeing such success in membership. And 28U, District Governor Carroll, if you'd like to share some thoughts with us on what's going on there in your district that's making the district so successful.
I think it's just been a team effort. I think we've really been trying to push and encourage all clubs to be cognizant of their membership and blatantly honest on where we stand as a district as well. Because I think at the club level, sometimes they don't see the bigger picture. And it's good that everybody, transparency is important. And just also we've been trying to not just say, hey, go out and do this, that, the other. We've been trying to give them ideas on how to do it and going out and helping them and supporting them.
And you're using the GMA. Could you share a little bit about how that's working for you?
I think it's working pretty well. We're just doing on a very, very small scale because we really are just starting out. So on our strategic plan, we've just going to be building it over the next every year. We, like Lynn said earlier, part of our strategic plan is that we just build on it each year. So yeah, I think it's working really well. The big thing is even when somebody says they're going to do something, and even when people say they're going to do something, they don't always do it, and that's okay. Don't just focus on that. Cut the loss and move on to the next try.
Thank you. And one thing that's once again important is that the team continues year after year. It's not the district governor's plan. It's the team's plan. It's the district's plan. And it takes time. And it's going to take more than 1 year to make a success of the GMA and really start to see the results. We've only had the GMA for a couple of years now. We've had, I think, 2 sets of district governors-elect trained on it. I think last year's district governors were trained and this year's district governors-elect have been trained. So we're really only seeing the second full year of it coming up. So continue to invest in it. It takes time and it takes teamwork. Thank you. And 39W, that would be District Governor-elect Lynn again. Do you have some other comments that you didn't already cover?
Nope. I think I got it.
How about past District Governor Kathy? I saw her drop in here a couple of seconds ago. Would you like to share some thoughts on how you've been using GMA successfully in the district? I think she's there, is she not? I can't see everybody.
Yeah, she's there. She doesn't have her camera on. She's trying to be hidden, but
Is that Cliff?
no, it's Kurt.
Kurt, that's Kurt. How are you, Kurt?
Pretty good. So I told you when you were here that Jay and I had done the SMART goals at our club, the Boise Bench. And then Thursday, Jay and I or Wednesday rather, Jay and I are going to Caldwell to do the SMART goals. So a little bit on GMA, and I'm the membership chairman for our club, not for the district, but. And
What
that's past Nampa, by the way, so.
What I recall from last year was the district governor Kathy had been putting the GMA in place as a foundation, and this year she's come back as the GMA champion and is implementing and seeing very positive results. Even though she's moved to Kansas, she's still doing it by remote control. So once again, we see that it takes a continuous effort year after year to see successes. District Governor Kimo, maybe you could share a little bit about what you're doing in Nevada that's so successful.
Well, we dissected GMA, and you have to consider that it's a global plan. Our leadership decided that they needed a plan that worked everywhere, in every culture, in every community. And membership is always their focus. The more members, more service. And then we used the approach as an attack. We proved that we wanted to remain a single district. There were a couple of PIDs that decided it would be better for us to go back to MD4. And basically we said, well, if California wants to join us, that's fine, but we're just happy where we're at. It took them a long time to separate from MD4 and become a single district. And a lot of the old folks were quite upset that it was even mentioned, even suggested. So we went into attack mode, and we proved that we could hit that magic number of 1250, and we're well on our way. And it's because of the commitment that issue brought forward. And it also dealt with our pride. We were proud to do what we were doing as a single district. And we've been successful in the sense that we go out as a team. It includes everyone. We have established membership chairs, both in the north and the south. One person can't do it all. Every zone chair, every region chair has that same goal, that same focus, that same pride, that same commitment. The district governors, from the past district governors all the way down to the second vice, we're all committed to growing our membership. But you can't just look at the number. What we did was say, who do we want? And it's really important that we don't just go out and say, sign here, you're a member. We insist on, we respect everyone, but we're looking for good character. We want Lions to come on board that are committed to humanitarian service. That's who we are. We have an identity. It's over 100 years old. We're good at it. And we take the time to get away from the old. I mean, I don't know how many people have been Lions for very long, but you kind of get tired of the same old shtick. you know, you've got the old story of how we began, the challenge that we were given to become Knights of the Blind. All of those things are important, but put some salt on that steak. Talk about what it was like back in Chicago in 1917. Bring about the history in a way that resonates with potential members. They respond to that. They don't respond to just being a member. They respond to being a member that makes a difference. And you have to show them that, yeah, there were 4 past presidents. There was, in 1917, you had the temperance movement started back when Melvin Jones was talking to his buddies, the Bolshevik Revolution, women's suffrage movement. There was a 2.5 years of White House protest at the gates of the White House. There were radical political agitations. There was a spread of socialism, communism, anarchism, labor unrest, First World War, Spanish flu. I mean, if all of these things seem like they're very similar to what we're going through today, that's how you prove that we can make a difference.
Thank you. And I noticed you started out by saying something that kind of segues into another area, and that is that the GMA, as it's taught to district governors elect, is a GMA for districts. And as we look at using it at the club level and the zone level, we find that we need to remove a lot of that excess sophistication and focus in more on the club's view of the world and what the club's dealing with. And it's a lot simpler. We can make it a lot simpler. And there are also clubs that can take a bit of it and use it successfully and kind of leave some of the rest. It's kind of like the cafeteria model. You take your plate and you go through, and if you like the meatballs and the jello and the pie, you take that and you leave the rest for later, whatever works for your club. So thank you very much for that. Let's move on to talking a little bit about clubs. I'm just curious, if your district doesn't have a district extension chair, what we're calling a global extension team, is that something that's of interest? And or if it's of interest, is there a reason why you may not have one yet? And if someone has a comment, maybe you can unmute yourself and share. Go ahead, District Governor Cliff.
Well, one of the things that kind of struck me about the district extension chair is that I needed to find an individual that was motivated, that was able to access resources to help clubs, and was positive about it, and was willing to go out and then visit with anybody, anywhere, anytime. And then in our cabinet meeting, was there to kind of support what everybody was doing. It took me a while to find that individual, and I found him, I don't know, about a month and a half ago. And since that time, he's been very active. He's been looking around. We've been identifying areas that we probably want to bring new clubs back, because we've lost a lot of clubs. I talked to a past district governor, and he told me that when he was district governor, on our side of the state, we had 33 clubs. Well, we're down to 22. And we need to get back up there. And this is why I found this individual and gave him the reins and the support. So it's very, very, to me, very extremely important that you do find somebody, but they do have to have that knowledge base and a great PR skill to go along with that.
Thank you. That brings up another question. And rebuilding a club from an empty charter or from a charter that's maybe been turned in is the same as building a new club. So it's perhaps something the GET could do. Vice District Governor or District Governor-elect Adam, please unmute and share your thoughts.
We'll do
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, we don't have a get this year, but I have that in place for next year. And as District Governor Kimo was saying, we're growing and we're growing quickly. And now is the time to strike for us. It's very tailored. I just felt that I felt this need that we better get somebody in there that can take the reins. And then I'm taking District Governor Kimo when he's done, and I'm throwing him in that pool as well because he's really motivated to start these clubs, and it's just building on this momentum. So I just felt we had to do it.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Al Hedstrom is one of the district new club coordinators, and he had to leave the meeting. He could have chatted for a few minutes, but we know that there are new club coordinators available if you choose to use them. I know some of us feel that it's best to be opening new clubs with the people on the ground, and others feel that they could use some help getting organized with a new club coordinator. I will mention that we have 299 clubs in our GAT area as we speak. And that's 3 new clubs this year, but we dropped 4 net -1. But what's more realistic to me is the fact that we have 38% of the clubs we have that are below 15 lions and 20% below 10. So while we can be opening new clubs, we also need to be focusing on the clubs we have. And for those that are willing and desirous, we can be assisting them to retain and recruit. We could be assisting everyone to recruit and retain, but especially those clubs that are below 10 members and below 15 members, we really want to focus in on them and help those that are willing. Of course, if a club has hung the "do not resuscitate" on the door, we don't want to send the EMT, the ambulance, over to the morgue. We just want to love them and continue to support them, and maybe think about forming another club or a branch in that area. But we know that there are some clubs that have decided that they don't really want any assistance from higher up. So we can work on those. So the GMA, the Global Membership Approach, it is working. We are seeing the results, and we're seeing that the district governors-elect have been trained again, and we hope that they'll be taking, yes, Darlene, I see your hand. I'm sorry.
That's okay, Richard. You're talking about the clubs that are like dying down. I went to a club up here in Sparks. They were down to maybe 4 or 5 active members. And so now I am part of that club, and I talked to them. I said, what can we do to get your membership growing? And so we talked about the options. I was going to try and start a club nearby in Sparks. And I said, instead of doing that, do you guys mind doing a recruiting for your club? And they loved it. I said, okay, you guys meet at 7:30 a.m. This area we're going to is a young area. We're going to have a lot of new people, young people. They can't meet at 7:30. Any objections to move it at nighttime? So we are changing it. So we have a couple of meetings in the morning and a couple in the evenings. And we have a big membership drive coming on May 30th. And we're going to do that locally, and they will all be there with their vest on. And we're going to be doing a lot of promotion, training them so they're ready to build their members. And these are older people who have been in the club, and it's an older club. So I said, I don't want to lose you guys. I want you to stay. Because they were going to fold. They were going to go merge with another club. And I was, no, we don't have to do that. We can save this club. We just have to go in, and we need to help each other. It has to stop this competition of it's my club, and I don't want to help anyone else to get members because we need members. Let's work together as a team and find people who can fit in different positions or different clubs so that If they can meet in the morning, great, afternoon, great, evening, but we have to work together as a team.
Thank you. It's interesting, you've mentioned that I'm our GMA champion for our district. And I'm meeting with 2 clubs in the very near future to go over the GMA, and we'll be breaking it down into very small pieces. And because they've decided they want to grow, and so we're going to focus on recruiting and retention and service and build from there. So back to GMA, we've got our district governors-elect trained, and so they can be bringing back this expertise to the district for another year. And do we have districts with GMA champions? And if we don't, I might encourage you to consider doing that. It is not an official title within MyLCI, within the MyLCI place there. It's more of a local title. In our case, it's kind of an informal title, but it's my job to be going around and assisting clubs with GMA. And I'm attempting to, at the same time, to develop some apostles, some people who, once we go through it once or twice, they're able to take it down to their zone chair. So I'll be visiting a club up north and down south, and in both cases, the zone chair will be joining me, and we'll be doing it as a team. So there's nothing so secretive about the GMA that somebody can't learn how to start adapting it in very short order. I wonder if we could consider offering it as club officer training for the upcoming year. Any thoughts on that subject? Or do we have any GLTs with us? If you do, raise your hand. If not, we'll move on. I would encourage you to put it on your list for president training, and you can slip in a short version of it without losing much else. There's also a Lions Learning Center course that's very good. I would encourage any or all of you to drop into the Lions Learning Center and take a gander at that. It doesn't take very long to go through, and you can get the highlights pretty quickly. We have some videos available, and the LCI website has a lot of stuff on it. Just go to LCI website and use the little microscope there, the little magnifying glass to look up GMA, and you'll find it. And there we have a GMA Facebook group, GMA for Clubs Facebook group. I would encourage you to join it. And I run it, so I can let you in. There's no worries. And then what can I do to help? Any other thoughts on GMA before we move on? Okay. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. And I've had the pleasure so far this year to visit 4 district conventions, and I've had some real fun, I got to tell you. And I'd like to now take a couple of minutes did Jennifer show up? I can't see all the faces here. Is Jennifer here from Idaho? Not here.
I don't see her, Richard.
I'm sorry?
I don't see her.
Okay.
She's not here.
Okay. Kurt, why don't you take a couple of minutes and tell us what was fun about your convention?
Food was good. No, no, one of the things that they did on Friday night, instead of playing some games that people couldn't understand, we did bingo. And so there were some people that won some nice prizes with that. We also had some really good speakers, a couple of great breakout sessions. And before the convention, Camp Hodiah, which deals with kids that have diabetes, did a dress rehearsal on an event they're going to do. So we got to go over to a place called Ragers and break bottles. So that was kind of fun to get that going too. That wasn't for everybody. It was just for a few people, but at least Camp Hodiah saw how it would work really good. Richard did a really good job. He didn't hurt anybody, I think, but maybe a couple people. But Yeah, so it was a fun convention. So our incoming district governor has a higher bar to jump over this next year. So
Oh, a couple of things, somebody's got some background noise, if they could mute, please. A couple of things I noticed was, we kept the costs down by, one, selling tail twister insurance to everybody coming in the door. So when you came in the door, it was $5 to get tail twister insurance, and they got $5 from everybody, as opposed to $1 or $2 from one or two people. And then we had someone going around making phone calls to cell phones of everybody in the audience and then giggling in the background. And it was very disruptive. And I won't mention any names, but he thought it was pretty funny. Another thing that happened that struck me was that they had an auction of the centerpieces, and the centerpieces were beautiful, but they raised $1,300 auctioning off centerpieces, and people were winning the bid and then turning them back in again. So it allowed some folks to put some money in to support the convention without having to raise the dues for everybody to go to the convention. I thought that was very interesting. There was a speaker there that was so good that when we left, PID Jerome Thompson said to me that she was USA Canada quality. And that was very, very, a great deal of fun for me and my wife. So that was good stuff. I wonder if Utah might have any thoughts on fun, low-cost conventions.
Well, I'm being.
So what we've done is we've tried to put a theme on our conventions. We've had Roaring 20s. We've had the Mad Hatters was Carol's idea, and it doesn't require a lot of costumes. The Mad Hatters is you wore a crazy hat, and a great idea Carol and our past council chair, Bonnie Johnson, came up with is a hat rental. So if you didn't bring something, you went to the hat rental, $5 all night, you had a instant costume.
And actually, if they didn't, they had a choice of renting a hat, wearing a hat, or paying a fine. So
no pressure there. The next one is a medieval theme. So we found make it fun. If it's not fun, it's a snooze fest. So that's what we're doing in Utah.
I just came back from southern New Mexico, and they did something that Arizona did as well, which was to make the convention a one-day convention. And in the case of New Mexico, they started it at 10 in the morning so that no one had to spend a night in a motel. They could drive there in the morning and drive home at night, and it was over at 4 p.m. And so they had a little less time, but they saved some time because they had their election, which took about 15 minutes, which I kind of enjoyed. They just had everybody walk up, grab a piece of paper, mark it, and drop it in the basket. And it literally took 15 minutes to do their election. So those were some interesting ideas. And it seems to me as we struggle to get our Lions to find our conventions worthy of their time and their money, anything we can do to make them attractive is a good thing. So now, Mike, you're on, and if you have some photos, you can take over the controls and do it.
Sounds good. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to introduce you. I spoke. I want to pass on first quick thanks to Lynn and Kurt. Fantastic convention. We braved a snowstorm coming from Utah to Boise, Idaho, just to be with those folks, and they were so gracious to us. So, and it was good to see you, Richard, as well, even though you had your phone on. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to mention any names. when you call people. So I'm Lion Mike. I'm going to talk to you briefly about Sleep in Heavenly Peace. It's not a mortuary. I'm not going to sell you plots or anything. It's actually an organization we partnered with. And let's get going, shall we? So I know the secrets to your districts is these are your go-to projects, a pancake breakfast or a spaghetti dinner. And you see the motto, pancakes in the morning, spaghetti at night, and everything will be all right. So I'm telling you, that's not the secret sauce, and it's not going to get you any more members, even though I love those two projects. So what we're not operating in a silo anymore. We learned if we want to get ourselves out there, we have to partner with other groups whose membership may or may not be struggling like ours. So it gets PR for them and it gets PR for us as well. So we were first introduced, our current council chair had been doing a service project, Jim Knight, and he said, hey, have you heard of Sleep in Heavenly Peace? And I said, I'm not interested in a mortuary at this time. And he goes, no, they build beds so no kids, their motto is no kid sleeps on the floor in our town. Well, I said, that's impossible, with all the resources we have, all the different organizations, how can that be possible? Well, I'm here to tell you, Carol and myself, we've gone to several houses that kids are sleeping on floors, in back rooms, in cars. And so when I first started researching it, it was aired on, if you heard of Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs, the television show, he was on a show called Return the Favor. And so Richard can share these slides, and there's the link. It's a 21-minute show. So that's where you want to go to find out about the organization. But in a nutshell, it started in 2012. And this one gentleman was asked through his church, there were some kids that needed bunk beds. So that's how they started. They built it in their garage, like most great companies, right? They start in their garage. And now they're up to 270 chapters nationwide. If you type in shpbeds.org, you can find a chapter that way. And it's this is a perfect service project for you. It's participants of all ages and abilities, from your legacy members to, we've had youth part, as long as they can operate a power drill or a sander, it's all ages. And most of all the resources or materials are donated by big shops like Lowe's or Home Depot and or other sponsors. So when the participants show up, they hand you a pair of gloves, a water bottle, and they say, pick a station, and you'll rotate through the different stations. You might start off at sanding, then you're on to drilling or onto putting the actual brand SHP. They heat up the iron and they put it right on the wood. So that's basically what it is. They operate off of grants. So clubs are essentially, you're buying the materials for the next build. So what you're building off of was materials donated by the previous group. And it depends on how many beds you build. Like when we did it, I think it was a $5,000 grant we got from our state foundation, and we build 20, 25 beds for that money. And it's when they build the beds, that's the first activity. There is a second follow-on of delivering the beds. And I'm telling you, by doing these service projects, we pick up 5 to 10 people every time we do it. But that secret sauce that I showed you on the other slide, not the pancake breakfast or the spaghetti dinner, is you got to keep regular service projects to not only gain members, but to retain them as well. So that's what we found. If you're looking for other service project ideas, you can go right to the mothership, lionsclubs.org, and type in the magnifying glass, 100 service ideas, and that'll get you all kinds of service. You can also go to the page Lion Richard's an admin on, or lastly, you can go to Google and find out, type in service projects, and that'll give you some great ideas. Carol, you want to add? Or Lion Jim Knight, if you're on, feel free to add, Carol.
No, except for I know there's a couple of districts that are doing the Sleep in Heavenly Peace. They've already joined up with them. If you haven't, it's a great service project. It's where you can get a lot of people involved. You can make it a club project, a zone project, a district project. The more the merrier. And make sure you have a membership chair there. Even if usually you do it out in a very public area like the Lowe's car park or a church car park. And members of the public will just come up and ask what you're doing. And that's a great way of talking to people as well.
Another one is all the materials are new. So it's reclaimed wood and it's stained and it's, it's pretty easy to assemble. It's a couple lag bolts on each side. And those are either single beds or bunk beds. And the mattresses are new. So they're getting all new things. If you know of a quilting group, you can have them partner with you. And we have a local quilting group that donates quilts for the beds. Okay.
That's for service project. When we started our little branch service club, I'm not smart enough to make up my own ideas, but we found a website that's called justserve.org. And we found a lot of partners to do with that. There's one that's called Plighting, Picking Up Litter While Hiking. They have an event every weekend and they furnish all the buckets and the pickup tools. So we can go pick up trash. They have it all organized for us. But you'll see a lot of things, they'll see things from the food bank of making meals in a bag, or there's, local things. We adopted one of the city parks and we do that. So there's a lot of things on Just Serve to help you with your ideas, and it's nationwide. And they even have the reading programs in school if you want to help with the elementary schools reading. But there's just unlimited things there you can partner with and to do service, whether you got 5 in your club or 55 in your club.
And put your own service projects on it too.
Yes. And if you have service projects that you want to invite the community to, you can put it on Just Serve and you'll get people to come help you with your community service projects.
Thank you very much, Utah Lions. I might also add that I was scrolling down their Facebook page today and looking for a photograph for Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And I happened to see this photo and I just stopped and almost had tears coming down my eyes as I looked at this family and thought to myself, this is a project that we could be doing as a multiple district or as a district or as a club. And I know there's one in Phoenix, and it's something we could be doing as a statewide project. I believe there's one in Kingman too. I'm not 100% sure. And I spoke to them about possibly putting one in Tucson, and that could potentially roll into a branch or a club. This is a great project that gets a lot of real good volunteers, a great way to do service, to get publicity, to meet people who are volunteers. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for bringing it up. By the way, it's also being done in Idaho. Yes, District Governor Cliff.
Just one thing, after I came back from the midwinter 39W, I reached out to 2 chapters on this side of the state, and they are looking for partners. And we're going to be meeting and we're going to be talking about it. So it's just a phone call, great group. They're in, they are motivated in this area. And I think that'd be a great partnership between us and them. So.
And I understand there may be some movement at the LCI level to talk about a higher up partnership with this organization. I just heard that tonight. Yes, Lion Darlene.
So I did try to get the USA Canada Forum Committee to take on this project as a forum service project, but because of the liability, the tools and everything, they had to turn it down. I pushed it. But one of the things that they told us when they came to my club and talked about it, is not only is it great to build these beds, but if you could be on the crew that delivers the beds to these kids, they said it just, it's one of those aha moments that they talk about in our Lions training. And this would be great. Have your different regions do this project and compete against each other. How many beds can you build in your region? There's so many things that we can do with this project, and it is in such great need. And the heartfelt stories that he shared with us and showed us pictures of these kids who slept on the floor in their closets. It's just shared a bed with 4 other people. It's great. This is an awesome project, and we are working on making them a Lions Club.
Great, thank you so much. So now we're going to roll into, we have had in some of our districts, somebody needs to mute there, please, if you could, please.
There's a question for you, Richard, from Peggy, Jess, and
I'm
Shelley.
sorry, I can't
Shelley.
see it.
Yeah, we included one new in this. The other thing we were just talking about on Sleep in Heavenly Peace is not only quilts, but they need sheets and pillows and blankets, and they need it all. So you could do a fundraiser to get that for them as well.
That's a great point. Another point is we had a new member, Richard, I've wanted to share this with you when we saw you in Idaho. You got to make sure your allergies aren't weak. What I mean is when one of the members went to the house and saw the kids living in different conditions other than ourselves, let's put it that way. And it broke her heart. And what I mean is her allergies started running as she wanted to, she said, this isn't fair. The kids didn't ask for this. And I said, hey, we're not here to judge. We're here to deliver beds. And, we can't determine what the priorities of parents. A couple of the houses, they've had new phones while the kid's not sleeping in a bed. But I tell you, when the kids get on the bed and they give you the biggest smile or say, this is just like Christmas, that makes you remember why you became a Lion. So just want to say there is that part. The delivery is not necessarily for every member, of course, but it is available.
Thank you so much. We have had some difficulties in finding people to step up for leadership. And we had a great story come out of 21 North in Arizona. And I wonder if Fahana, if you could give us a brief outline of how that worked.
Thank you, Lion Richard. And I just want to say hi to my class partner, Adam Hopkins. Hello. And so Lion leadership, my concept is untouchable group of leaders, and is not the leadership clan I want to be part of. That was my idea from get-go. But PDG Mari Cunning recruited me as a GMT when she served as a governor. That was the opening of getting involved with the district. And I get to say it, as a Lion, you can do so much, not just stay within your club area. And then sure enough, when PDG Joyce Mayer was about to incoming district governor, one day I was called in a meeting where the council chair, Rosemary, PDG Joyce Mayer, and PDG Mari Cunning, and another Lion was there. And they started questioning me, encouraging me. And I asked them where it's going. And they told me, why don't you step up as governor? But I was afraid. I was very timid about that because I never explored that journey. So they said it would be continuing approach. You are not alone doing your year. So we'll start, you will continue, and we'll assist. And that promise made me confident. But and the best thing happened right after that. I realized who is after me. Who would help me, because I was the third one in that row. so that point, we had our PDG association creating a committee for the scouting of the leaders, and also in our district convention, PDG PID Caroline Messier, one of the books that she bought into Arizona from her estate and adopted by PDG Bobby is more of a Arizona version. So it was presented and it has everything in there, the time commitment, the money commitment, how to manage your spouse when you're doing the duties, and your spouse, how they need to smile and greet people so you don't look bad as a district governor. So all these kind of details were there. So it was like we had room full of people, not only potential leader, also the PDGs and the PIDs, and they shared their ideas, their experience. So it gave us a lot of comfort. And then we had a master list of all the potential leaders, and all these people in the committee started reaching out individually, asking their life situation and motivating them. Finally, we recruited 2 of the members, and right away we started sharing the knowledge and helping them to get a foot up or leg up, because the knowledge gap is the fearful factor. So if we give the knowledge right away, then next leaders will be happy. And with that effort, our multiple district, we requested both North and South bring our vice district governor together. Even before the election, the second vice district governor now, who was about to nominate, we brought them together, had a meeting and understanding how we can carry on 3-4 years of work relationship and not trying to invent our work every year. So I'm very thankful to Arizona PIDs. John Walker is right here today. Even all these resources are so available, and whenever you ask question, you get the solution. So my idea of untouchable leader clan, that completely changed. And now I believe they're the giving-hearted, knowledgeable, and full of wisdom resources. It's we need to tell our future leaders, just tap into that. And also a great, huge thanks to Lion Richard, because you always inspired me to think out of the box and shoot for the moon. And thank you for that.
Thank you very much, District Governor-elect Farhana, who I heard for the first time say that she was shy, and it's hard for me to picture that. One of the most dynamic and exciting people I've met in Lionism, and I very much appreciate having met you. Thank you so much. Yes, Lion Lynn. Oh, are you applauding? Yes. Okay, thank you so much. What's so exciting to me about this is that we have 3 women who've stepped up as a team and are going to have a 3-year run together as a team and support each other. What a great team to be building that district in 21 North. So thank you so much. We have about 7 minutes for any questions or comments by anyone who'd like to have anything to say at this point.
Don't forget to take your picture, Richard.
Thank you so much, because as you know, I forget things. So while we're waiting for anyone who might have something to say, I'm going to ask everyone to I have to stop because Darlene, you've put that up there. So now I got to do it. Okay. Are we ready? Everybody look at the camera. Now I'm going to do page 2. Here we go. Everybody look at the camera. Thank you so much. Okay. Any final thoughts, questions, comments?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I get that, Farhana, can I get that handbook, about telling the husbands how to, behave?
I think Lion Richard already have it in the Global Forum document folder? Not yet?
I do not, but I think it'd be great if you'd like to forward that on, that'd be great.
Okay, and definitely, I will send it to Lion Richard because he is the communication hub, and then anyone and everyone can have it, definitely.
I'm a hub. That's English for stovetop, I think.
Hey,
Okay,
Richard,
yeah.
who was the POC in New Mexico for their one-day convention? Is that Randy, or who do we go through for that?
I'm sorry, once again, your question?
The yep, the one-day convention, you said who would be we'd like to get a copy of that if possible.
A
The
copy
agenda?
of the agenda. I can send you a copy, but I don't know, Randy said he was unfamiliar with you, so maybe I better send it to you.
This call is over.
So I'm having dinner with Randy Rue, and he says to me, he recruited this guy named Mike Eisenberg. And I said, oh my goodness. Yes, District Governor Linda.
I have a copy of my district convention, Mike, if you are interested in that. We did it in one day also. And we have been very fortunate to have our district convention the last couple of years around St. Patty's Day. And I have pictures of PIP Preston in a leprechaun hat.
Excellent.
We had
Which
fun.
I
didn't
will
we, Randy?
share. Thank you so much. Any other questions, comments? Well, I thank you so much. And once again, as I always tell you, I've got the best job in Lions. Yes, sir, Randy.
I just wanted to add one thing real quick for Mike. That was the 40 South convention or the 40 North convention. Our multiple district state convention is coming up first weekend of May. And that's going to be a 2 or 3 day event instead of just a 1 day. But the actual districts was just a 1 day deal on both 40 North and 40 South. Makes it easier for people to travel, less expense. And it actually helps more show up to the multiple district convention where they do have to stay at a motel.
Thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
Lion Richard, may I give an invitation to all the Lions here?
Let District Governor Adam ask his question, then I'll come back to you, Farhana.
Okay.
Your microphone. Microphone. Well, Farhana, I guess he can do sign language. Yes, Farhana, go for it.
So Arizona Lions are celebrating 100 years of Lionism this year, 2023. So May convention, we have a gala night open to all. So if you feel like traveling to Arizona and enjoy the weather a little bit and sightseeing, come join us May 20th night. And if you need more information, then Richard and I will give you more information, but join us.
Thank you so much. And as always, I have the best job in Lionism. I serve you all. It's a pleasure. Thank you all for being Lions and for being Lions leaders. And we'll see you in a month. Good night.
See you, Richard.
Hi, Richard.